We're at the kangaroo place,
Right.
where the kangaroos live at our zoo.
Right.
You asked me what I know about kangaroos. I know
Right.
that they're fast, they
Right.
can jump.
Right. They actually, when they're at a full run, like they can't do it here because there's tree limbs and things, but when they're on a full run, they can get up to speeds of 44 miles an hour. And over long distances, they can maintain 30 miles per hour. And they can jump as far as 30 feet. So if you look at the 3-point line on a basketball court.
Yeah. They're dunking from a three-pointer.
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah, way past the
Plus,
3-point.
yeah.
Right. So
Well, so those couple things. I know that tails are important,
the tail is very
and
important.
I know that they're a marsupial, which means that they're pouch.
Yeah, marsupial means purse bearer.
Okay.
They're also macropods, which macropod means big feet.
Okay.
So we talked about how fast they run, and we talked about the tail, and I guess before we talk about the tail, the important thing that a kangaroo has that we don't have, like they can jump 10 feet high, okay, like when they're in a full run. And that's because their Achilles tendon back here is 3.5 times stronger than ours, okay? So a kangaroo would own LeBron James,
Yeah.
okay? Their jumping ability is next to none because of that tendon and the way it is able to hold power and then release it. So the other thing is the tail. You asked about the tail,
Yeah.
or said something about the
Yeah.
tail. The tail actually helps them balance. You can see where the center of gravity is here. So when they're in a full run, that tail acts as a balance for them.
Okay.
One of the cool things about a kangaroo, or the coolest things to me, is when a kangaroo is born, he's this big. Okay, he's about the size of a jelly bean.
Yeah, that's a big jelly bean, but that's about the size of a jelly bean.
Right. Now, some people think that the kangaroo baby's born in the pouch. It's not. So he's this big, and he's born, and he can't see, and he can't hear, but he can smell, and he can crawl. And what he winds up doing is he crawls, takes him about 15 minutes. He crawls up the mother's pouch, climbs in the mother's pouch, finds a nipple, and latches on. He smells the milk.
Mm-hmm.
So he crawls in and he gets the milk. But he's only this big. So now, think about this. The mother's on the full run, and this little bitty thing is in that pouch. You'd think he'd be rattling around. But the mother's nipple swells up to the size of the baby's mouth, and the baby is able to hang on while the mother's at a full run.
That's incredible.
So now you have, well, let me show you this picture. The baby starts to grow.
Yeah.
This is actually
That's in the pouch.
in the pouch at about 2 months old. Okay. Now, as the baby grows,
Mm-hmm.
and he starts to develop some, he needs to get out of the pouch in order to get exercise. Mother teaches him to find food and all that stuff. Well, in the meantime, another little jelly bean is crawling up the pouch and into the pouch. The mom actually has 2 different nipples with 2 different kinds of milk. Now, when I talk to kids about this, I always say, can you imagine the mother kangaroo has 2 kinds of milk and one of them's not chocolate? You would think one of them would be chocolate milk. But the difference is these 2 need 2 different things.
Sure, developmental stages are different.
Right. So the one that's getting out of the pouch and getting exercise needs completely different nutrients than the baby needs. So
It's awesome.
how exactly would that evolve is the question. I mean,
I don't know.
it would make no sense for that to happen whatsoever.
Right, just change the gestation period, or like there's so many other things that could have changed that would have been less complicated as opposed to having two different functioning nipples.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it's the same thing with the Joey. When the mom's at a full run, it fills his mouth and he's able to hang on while the mom's at a full run. So I always go back to Romans 1.
Okay.
Romans 1 says, "For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly perceived, being understood by what has been made." And I think we've seen that. Oh, and the last part says, we are without excuse if we don't recognize that. And I think we're seeing that with all the animals we see today, with the special design and the things that evolution can't possibly explain. These animals are so amazing. When we give these tours, we call the zoo God's Art Museum. And it truly is. You see so much variety and so much incredible design. And when you see these animals, you just have to stand in awe of our Creator.
Yeah, and he does it. It's complicated. It's not like, oh, there's a cow. There's a cow that had to develop under certain conditions, temperatures, have the right angles on the shoulders, had the right biomechanics of the tendons, the elasticity. Like everything has to be perfect, or the whole animal doesn't exist.
Correct. And there has to be a male and a female.
Well, yeah. Gene passing on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So any questions about the kangaroo? Other than
Do you think I could beat it in a fight? You see the old cartoon.
You know what? It's been a long time since I've seen a kangaroo fight, but you're a pretty big boy. You might be able to take him.
I think I could take him more.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try it.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
Thanks,
thank you.
Marv.
All right.
Appreciate it.